Well, hello, everybody. After all that, I hope we stay for the whole meeting, but I'll just dive straight in so that we get as much as we can on board. I had a momentary epiphany last time after I left the painting. I suddenly remembered that we do use purple to make shadows, and I thought that would do better on his face to give us this a bit more like it is. It's got a bit heavy there, so I'll take it off. Beauty of pastels, you can just go over it if it's wrong. Wonderful. Now that's much better. Gives us a much better view of the light on his face. Much better. And we can do the same here. Down his little arm. Just makes, for some reason, makes it seem more real, and there's no reason why that shadow can't go a little bit into his shirt as well. There, right, and down here, of course, just seems to be a little bit kinder. There's the thing about some pastels, they do get big. You begin to wonder. Right, while we're working on flesh tones, let's get his legs and his boots in at the same time. I'll work slowly down into it. I want to get his pants here. If you get these creases in the right place, they give much more direction to his little nappy, which is hiding under his pants, which is rather nice. So, I haven't actually put it in the drawing, but I should imagine there's a little shadow there where his pants are shading his leg, and the same through there. And then we'll have a shadow down here on his leg. Comes down here round the fat of his leg. The light is ambient, it's not directional, there's no strong sunlight. So we can't, the light's from overhead, basically, such a little fellow. But we do have the light. And the same down here, on the side of his leg. And it comes across here on this leg. See, if you leave the fat of his leg, it just makes them stand out that little bit more. And not sure what we've got here. I'll be doing a bit more work on the grass down here later to make it more grassy. But we'll think about that. I'll just want to get it in actually, so it shapes his legs. Right, and then we'll go on to a more flesh tone. And there, and then a lighter flesh tone where it's catching the back of his legs. And I'm just going to blend that in. It doesn't blend so well on this paper, But I like to see the brush strokes, so that's okay by me. Let's take this leg round a bit more. Again, it's something you can't see from where you are, but I can see the inaccuracy there. It's bugging me a bit. Okay, so we'll come down here. And of course, if you look at his little boots, they are also going to show purple shadows. A nice, lovely red color, aren't they? But there'll be a purple shadow on them. And here too, in this case, it's catching more that part of his little boot. I'll get some bright red on there now. And by working back into the boot, just anchors in nicely. And I've got a darker red here, which is not quite so violent as the purple, so that might help. And if you take your strokes round, they will help to form the back of the boot, which is not flat, but rounded, of course. And a very pale blue edge to his little boots, which will help them to stand out. And here. And of course, he's got very white soles on his boot, and it comes down quite sharply there. There we are. And that boot is pointing up a bit. And I've been a bit over generous with the white, so I'll cut it back with the red. There we are. And then he's tied his laces there, they're hanging out a bit. So we've got his legs nicely on there. Now, there's the foreground here. Which is a bit difficult to see, but there's a curb. Which there's a bit of a breakdown there, isn't there? The weeds have got at it a bit there. One of the things I do with pastels is to keep them in a box. So instead of having to dive in my big collection all the time, I've got the colors that I use. And as you can see, I think there's quite a lot of them. This is because in pastel, if you want to go lighter, you pick a lighter pastel to work with. What's that one doing? What's that one? Right, okay. And then it goes very much darker there. And on the top, very much lighter, but still a grey. And then over here, we've got, if I get round to it, I'll be putting something that will help with direction, which I didn't make note of in my drawing. See, you always forget something. And that's the flagstones, because they are going to help to give direction to the fact that you're looking down at him and things are going away. What else do we need at the moment? I think it might be an idea to do something about the chain at this stage. I took it out because it was in the wrong place. And actually, it needs to be worked on a bit better. If you take it through his hand, it makes something for his hand to do there, instead of just sort of vaguely in space. No, I could just leave it at that for the time being. Right, so we've got the basic little boy there. He's more or less in the right place. There are places where he could be a bit more strongly shown as we work towards him. Well, it's actually, we reached a stage where it's a matter of adjustment as much as anything else. Now, what I've done is colour these little pants in a greeny colour, and it would help if I put in the stripes. Now, in the photographs, they're quite light, which I think I'm going to make them darker, depending on, that's very dark. That's very dark. Oh dear. What's this one? That's a bit better, mildly better. Right. So if we look at the stripes on his little trousers, in particular, this curving elasticated part here, the direction and angle of those little strokes is going to make that much more believable. So where the straps have come in here, you've got the little lines there actually going towards where the strap would take them. But because that's pulling the waistband, these lines here fight against it. So they're going against it. And then by the time they come to the end, they're so close together that they come in solid. Now, what happens here? Well, here you've got a little dip, because that's pulling that up and that's pulling that up. So here we've got a dip. And again, the little lines are going to, he's getting quite big lines, unfortunately. I said, well, I have a problem with pastels. It's possible to get an edge, if you can. If you can find an edge, it helps. And these are straight here. And then they start to pull that way. And then these are definitely that way. So you begin to get the feeling of that edge working in and out. And just to emphasize it, and maybe make those a little bit thinner, I'm going to reinstate the lighter marks. It's a matter of patience as much as anything. Not a strong commodity as far as I'm concerned. That's why I like orange. And if you find that you think you feel a bit too generous with the pastel, you can always take it back again. The beauty of pastels is you can work on top. Right. Now, if I can find my edge again, I did find an edge. That's an edge. I'll try again. Now over here, that line goes, a double line goes up like that. This line. And we've got the pocket here, so it's going to be you can pull the lines round and take them into this part here. That's good. Now we've got a series of lines across here because we've got an edge. And then these come down here. We begin to get the feel of what the leg is actually doing. And of course, as they go round the bulge, they're going to get wider apart. Start quite close together because they're gathered. And they get quite close together because they're pulled under the crutch there. I took quite careful note of these when I was doing the drawing. I got quite wound up in it. It was interesting, isn't it, when you get involved in something, how much more you see and how much more satisfaction you get out of doing the actual drawing. Now, if you've got the form in correctly first, these lines are an embellishment. And down here, because they're so close together, they become quite strong. And then we've got the pocket sticking out. And around here, what happens to them? They just get lost in translation here. And down here, they're just hanging straight. That's the little pocket. And you have to put the lines in for here. Now, at the moment, I've got quite a lot of light there. So I'm just going to shadow this a little bit here. And here. If you get the form in first, before you put the embellishment on, you get the little figure doing what you want to do. Right? So and here, oops. That's working a bit better. I think we can make his little shirt a bit whiter in places. What I'm doing now is driven more by my picture than by my sketch. Which is the sort of stage you're at the moment. The sky, I mean, we're in Italy, so the sky is going to be bright. It's going to throw out a lot of light. And any way you can add to the impression of the picture, the better. You're not going to get anything exceptionally fine in pastel unless you go to pastel pencils. You can put fine lines in. It's an awful lot of hard work, and I'm not convinced it's worth the effort. But I do want some shadows to help to form what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to use the colors to create the form of the little boy. No, it's that one. That's too dark. It's this one. So this is the light one. So I'm going back now with the light. I don't want those lines to be too aggressive. I go back with the light, aiming more or less for in between them. Not succeeding all the time, but just to take the edge off them a bit, because they are quite light in the original photograph. And putting them in with that dark color certainly showed it up to you, I hope, what I'm doing. But to my eye here, being so close to it, it made it much more aggressive. And I don't want the lines to be aggressive. He's a nice little boy. Assuming he is a little boy. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. I've just knocked them back a bit so that they don't take over the picture. They're still there, but they're not anymore. They're just part of his get-up now, which is what I was after. Right. I think I can reinstate the light. Thank you, dear. Reinstate the light on his face up here, because as I remember it, to catch his face. It's the wrong color. Yeah. That's better. You can't really see eyes and nose and mouth. You can just see him actually. Looking. Okay, you found it. Well, what did? Is it? Right, okay. Just some little marks on his fringe here, which sort of helps to define the, that might have been a bit dark, but there we are. I was using purple one, was it that? I think it was. This is a case where you put something on and you take it off, and then you put it on again, you take it off again, and you, because I've got pastel on my hands now, so I'm marking what I've done. We can do something to make his hair look a little less solid, because it was quite light. I'll just put some more strokes in. To lighten up that area there, so it looks a bit more like hair. I don't like that, it's too strong. That's the wrong colour. And I'm getting there we are, that's a bit better. Right. There we are. Reach a stage where you stop breathing. I think we can go a bit darker in here. Right. Now there will be a very slight shadow a little bit there. If I take that on top, cut out round about here, working on the grass now, to put a bit more form in the grass. Because it's here, it's close to it, so it will be quite evident that that's what it is. And round about here, the whole thing had come broken down, which is rather good because the red against the green is brilliant. I can go in again with something a bit more grassy here. Right, now this has reached the Saturday afternoon stage, where you sit there for the whole afternoon titivating and having a very enjoyable wet afternoon. Yeah?
5 minutes.
Right.
So you don't have a wet afternoon.
No, I don't. Come when you want them, you notice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a case of experimenting here to see how high I need to go with this, and how much I need to do to suggest that that's what it is. What's the name of that man who did pastels that we liked?
Lionel something.
Did Yardley? Lionel something, yes. He's a good one for that. He's done a lot of, I've seen one or two of his pictures where he does this superbly. Just enough, just right, in the right thickness and the right colours. Masterclass in what to do and how to do it.
Okay, your bandwidth has gone fakey again.
Right. In that case, I think it'd be a good idea to finish now. It gives you some idea. This is basic. You can carry on from this as much as you like or as little as you like, depending on what you want to achieve. I think I would do more down here. And if I get in the flagstones from the photograph, which I didn't put in my sketch, I will also help to make the little boy stand up in front of this flat grass that he's doing.